Hello, hello. Hello, can you hear me okay? Hello, Madfest.
Hello.
How is everyone? It's a real privilege to be here today, to be on stage with so many amazing speakers. So thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your morning to spend a bit of time with us. Graeme, Jodie, and myself have really enjoyed kind of reflecting on some of the work that we've done together, and bringing it together, celebrating it, thinking about what we can kind of learn from it. We've done quite a few rehearsals on Zoom. We haven't done a rehearsal on a stage quite this big, so bear with us. But our presentation is all about out of sight, front of mind. And we're going to tell you a little story. And it's a little story about doing the last thing that you should do if you want to launch a car. The last thing you do. Flipping the script completely and doing the opposite of what's correct. Being truly good different in a way that only humans can. So I'm Dan Bowers. I'm Chief Strategy Officer at TMW, part of Accenture Song. We're an integrated creative agency.
I am Graeme Noble. I am Chief Creative Officer of TMW.
And good morning, everyone. I am Jodie Taylor. I'm the General Manager of Marketing for Suzuki in the UK and Ireland.
So we're all together because we've worked together with a broader team, obviously, and we've been working on a really big challenge on an amazing brand that you might have heard of.
Well, you might have heard of it. Hopefully, most of you in the room recognise this logo. If you don't, the big word Suzuki might give it away. But it could go without saying, a lot of you in the room might actually think of these products when you think of Suzuki. And I won't blame you for that, because we are renowned for these products. However, we're also bloody brilliant at making cars. Just like this, our stylish Suzuki Swift, so small cars. We've just recently launched our brand new EV, so the e-Vitara, and it goes without saying we're also synonymous for our 4x4s. The iconic Jimny jumps to mind, and I've got to say, if it's good enough for Rihanna, it's good enough for anybody, is what I'll be saying to that.
But the problem is, when it comes to car buying, car buyers sometimes think, Suzuki. You see what I did there? Yeah, it's just not quite on car buyers' radar. They're not considering it. They've heard of Suzuki, but when it comes to making that shortlist, Suzuki isn't quite cutting the mustard. So we had a real job on our hands to launch the amazing new Suzuki Swift, and we needed to turn this brand neutrality into desirability to launch the new Suzuki Swift. We didn't have the luxury of having massive budgets compared to our competitors, so we needed to outsmart, not just outspend, and think about it differently. And that meant truly living up to our brand promise. And our brand promise is a really lovely one to work with, and that is being good different. And that's about standing apart in a positive and purposeful way. It's about not being different for different sake, but being better by design and offering something genuinely different. And being good different is about going against the status quo. It's about breaking the rules, and it's about doing things differently, obviously. It goes without saying, doesn't it, Graeme?
It does. So, like any good human being, what do we do when we want to find out stuff? We turn to AI and ask it what we should do. So we said, what are the rules of car advertising, AI? Please tell me. And it came up with these things. An empty open road, dramatic mountain pass. I kind of like this tagline about freedom, control, power, horizons, which really speaks to me. So that's what the rules say. And I think you'll probably agree that we've seen it all before. We've seen these rules so many times, but they are the rules. So we thought, let's build a car ad together. Let's follow those rules, see what we come up with, yeah?
Yeah, let's
do it.
So let's build an ad together. So, here's what we're going to have as a backdrop. How about maybe Junction 8, the M25, Croydon, Swaffield Road, Sevenoaks? What's the backdrop to our car ad going to be? Well, guess what? It's a sweeping mountain road with some morning light and blue sky. What a surprise. Who'd have thought it? What about our car? Maybe the car's careering over the edge. Maybe it's broken down. Or maybe it's a three-quarter shot. Who'd have thought it? Now we need a tagline. Let's get back to being powerful, guys in command. I want more for my life. I expect more. What's the tagline going to be? Drive beyond. That speaks to me about power and ambition and where I want to go. So that's what it tells us. In fact, it's so good, by the magic of the internet, we've actually created a tele ad about our new Generico car for you guys to enjoy right now.
Hear that? That's the road. whispering your name. So embrace the unknown. Fuel your senses. Imagine what a car can be, then reimagine what you imagined. Be the destination. Experience a new kind of experience. This isn't a car, it's a state of mind. Generic Motors present the new Cliché Model 3 GTX. Take on the road and win.
So many brands follow these cliches and these rules and this formula. Too many brands.
Yeah, and it gets us to a state where actually we've taken the badges off these cars, right? And I challenge anyone, you can't really spot the difference, right? They all look exactly the same because everyone's following those rules.
And then they're not, I don't think they're following those rules. Those tropes don't exist because they work. They exist because they're safe. In fact, very few car ads stand out when we look at the evidence. I'm sure you're all familiar with System 1's famous 5-star scoring system. A lot of automotive ads, they did a study of all the automotive ads in 2025. Too many of them come up with 2 stars. They're just not standing out. Only a tiny, tiny percentage are actually standing out and getting 4 stars or above. So no car ads are standing out. No car ads are interesting.
So in our opinion, yes, they're all being correct. They're following those rules. But what they're not doing is being interesting. And that's a real shame because car advertising has got a heritage of being interesting. Okay, so you think about over the years, we've had Thierry Henry, personal hero of mine, with his Va-Va-Voom. Then we think about the classic VW ad, right? There's not a mountain road in sight. That is the reason why we remember them, because they are not relying on those rules. So we need to stop being correct. What is correct, Dan?
Yeah, let's stop being correct. Let's stop relying on being correct because that gets us to a boring place. Correct tells us to show more car. Show more car. We did a bit of a review of different categories to see how much time a product is on screen and shown during a 30-second AV. And automotive, surprise, surprise, is top of the pops. It averages out at 22 to 26 seconds on-screen time in a 30-second ad. So the accepted logic is show more car, sell more car. That is the accepted logic. But we know that from the System 1 results that isn't working. So instead, we wanted to be interesting, not just correct. So we started with a truth, a human truth about Swift owners. Too much kind of car advertising starts with the metal. We started with the people. And it was a beautiful truth, and that was that Suzuki Swift owners love their Swift so much, they want to keep it a secret, don't they, Graeme?
They do. And actually, this isn't just about cars. You know what it's like. If you find something really good, okay, that's when you want to keep it a secret. You don't want everyone else to know. Everyone gets a little bit kind of, I don't want to share it, okay? I don't want to share it. This is my secret. You can't have it. Once everyone else has it, it's not so cool anymore. And that's just not about in cars. It's about everything. You think about music. Here's Blur here. You can imagine that, I like them when their dressing room was like a leaky pub toilet, but now it's a football stadium. I just don't like them anymore. People don't like things when they're not exclusive. Same goes for comedy. The early stuff at the Fringe was like really edgy before they cleaned up their act for TV. Things lose their edge. They lose their desirability. Think about a restaurant. There's a new restaurant in town. It's like, oh, it's really cool. Let's go down. I can imagine this. It was sublime when it was intimate. Now it's just an influencer convention with a menu. Once things become really popular, they lose their cachet. You want to keep it secret.
So there's a real interesting kind of human truth here, and that is that our owners, they like the exclusivity. They like being part of this exclusive club, and they want to keep it on the DL, I think the kids say. They want to keep it on the down low, and they want to keep it all to themselves. Keeping it to themselves means keeping it a secret. And so that took us to a place of asking the question of what if we showcased all the imaginative lengths that our Swift owners would go to keep their Suzuki Swift a secret.
And that led us to a lovely campaign, which is the new Suzuki Swift. So good, owners don't want just anybody having one. And the lengths the Suzuki owners would go to stop people seeing our new campaign, ripping the back off our ads, right? This is the lengths they're going to. It's not just that. It's, beautiful out of home, quite expensive, yeah, being ripped apart by Suzuki owners so that no one else will see the ads to keep it to themselves. Not just out of home, but actually very expensive. Sorry, Jodie. Digital out of home, right? Being smashed up because this is so good, Swift owners want to keep it to themselves. And that just carried on, paintballing it. No one's allowed to see the ads. Sorry about that, Jodie. Let's see our TVC.
Ain't it good? Ain't it good? Ain't it good when you know what you have and you have what you know you want? Oh, ain't it good? So good, so good. Ain't it good? So good, so good. Ain't it good when you know what you have and you have what you know?
The new Suzuki Swift. So good, owners don't want just anyone having one. Suzuki. Good different.
So I think you could agree that not being correct was a good decision. It's also a brave decision. But it's easy for me, for the creative director, to go, hey, let's be really brave. What about our client? How does it affect you?
Yeah, thanks for that, guys. I mean, can you imagine? This isn't a live scene, but it was more or less the scene. Getting in front of the board at Suzuki, including, by the way, our MD, who is Japanese, and his surname is Suzuki, to tell him the car we've been developing for the past 7 years, that we're all extremely proud of, we've got a great marketing campaign, we're going to hide the car. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, there was a few raised eyebrows and some dropped jaws at the time. You probably think I was going to struggle. But the reality was that isn't the case, because what came true is this is something that only we could do. And the reasons are behind what you've already heard today. Our customers, this was uniquely true about what our customers felt about the brand and the product itself, so for Swift. And ultimately, it's what's true about the car. So moving on to that, we talked earlier about being good different. What does that mean to Suzuki? So good different isn't just an advertising slogan. For us, we live and we breathe it. And with this campaign, we made a good different decision. That's ultimately what we do, live and breathe the product. And it gets back to what we've said earlier. It means we're not being correct, we're being interesting. So you're probably wondering, what were the results of all this? Well, what you're seeing on the screen now is the first 12 months from when we launched the campaign. And as you can see, great stats for us. Our brand consideration was up 10%. In terms of the expected sales volume for Swift, we exceeded that by 32%. And then our year-on-year brand growth is up 7.5%. So I think what you can see here is being interesting, really did pay off.
Oh, job done, Jodie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Job done. We had a happy, very happy Jodie. It was time to put our feet up, relax, maybe have a cocktail together, and as a team, celebrate, but not so fast. Not so fast. We decided to put Jodie through it all over again. We decided to do it all again. We didn't use AI to create these images. We got Jodie to pose for each one in a very human way, honestly. So we decided to do it all again with the e-Vitara. This was Suzuki's first ever electric vehicle. Yep. And we made Jodie sell in the same creative act, but with a completely different human truth. I'm sure you've all thought about, electric vehicles and thinking about buying one. There's lots of concerns, worries, challenges, that you're procrastinating. People are in kind of choice paralysis. People are waiting for an EV that answers all of those concerns. Enter the e-Vitara. Great.
Yeah, and that led us to our campaign, finally, the EV you've been looking for. And let's see the ad, Dan.
Of love is in your eyes, the look your heart can't disguise.
Suzuki e-Vitara with up to 10 years warranty. Finally, the EV you've been looking for. Suzuki. Good different.
Bloody love that ad. And I wasn't the only one. If you think back to what Dan said before about System 1, you remember we talked about the ranking of 2025, and that most car adverts were scoring about 2 stars in System 1's survey. The advert you've just seen for e-Vitara scored 4.3. So getting back to that 2% that we saw earlier on, that's where we were. So a huge proud moment for all of us, I think it's fair to say. And so much so, System 1 alluded to, they give the award for the best car performing ad in 2025 went to e-Vitara. So massive tick, hugely proud of it, and we all are. But moving on to that, and while results are great, of course they are, that's what we measure ourselves on. The statement that you've seen on the screen behind you is something that I am incredibly proud of as a brand leader as well. I think when you start to see sentiments like this, which we receive from our dealers, our colleagues, and importantly our customers, is what they were saying is you can truly see this is a Suzuki ad. So for me, that's the biggest accolade I could get. Amazing.
So 2 completely different cars, 2 completely different campaigns, one kind of interesting creative act, if you like, that were born from 2 unique human truths. So the Swift was out of sight because owners wanted to keep it a secret. The e-Vitara was out of sight because buyers were waiting for the right one to come along. And I started to think about what can we learn from these campaigns that we've done. And I've kind of gone back to the chalkboard here to kind of give a couple of lessons to share with you to kind of round off our presentation. So the lessons, I think, are, if your brand is not on the radar, visibility alone is not enough. If the category looks samey, best practice makes you invisible. And arguably, that's where AI sometimes can take you if used in the wrong way. So don't just show your product, create a reason to look. Be illogical. Don't be just correct. Be emotionally true and be creatively and commercially brave, as Jodie just kind of alluded to there, to be.
Yeah, and I guess probably the most important thing is don't worry about being correct, worry about being interesting.
Yeah. And so sometimes if you are out of sight, that's how you can be front of mind, and that's how we have made a true case for good different and in a way that only humans can. So thank you very much for coming to our presentation.